At the head of the fire, and I wish I had thought about this at the time. I studied medieval art, and so I am very keen on the meaning of ritual, but I didn't orient myself. I don't know what the cardinal direction was, but let's, at one end of the fire, certainly meaningful, but I didn't take note, were 2 buffalo skulls, and between them were carved bowls that had tobacco, cedar, and sage in them. And all of these are used in ritual and prayer. And the idea as incense is in the Catholic Church, and that you had the experience of. The smoke rises. It's another sensory element, like the tasting of the water or taking communion or whatever. It's that consumption, that inhalation, that part where you are engaging your body into the spiritual. It helps to, I think, edify the spirituality of it. But at this sacred fire, at all times and any time, anyone and everyone is welcome to pray at this fire. And certainly, even a lot of the native peoples are incorporate the Christian experience in with this too.
Well, the Bible says our prayers rise as incense. It's just a perfect illustration of that.
So you would see people at all time and any time, again, taking, maybe a bit from the bowl, some of the cedar or the burning of sage, and taking that and then offering it to the fire, and then saying prayers. And they would sit and kneel for however long their prayer needed to be for themselves. It wasn't allowed. I thought it was interesting. There was a lot of with the smoke, kind of the bathing of oneself in the smoke itself too.
Our guest today on Encounter is Terry McDonald. She's the executive director of the Roberson Museum and Science Center, and spent some time at Standing Rock, a brief time. But your daughter is there.
A brief time, yes.
Is she going to winter there?
I hope not. I hope not. Coming from Minnesota, I can assure you that North Dakota, this is nothing to mess around with. It was cold in November. She's coming home for Christmas. We'll find out what the status is. So I'll be seeing her in a few weeks.
But her life has certainly will have been affected by this experience.
My life is affected by this. I am in awe of the people, and at that time I think there were 7,000 people. I don't know, maybe a lot more now. And there's going to be veterans that are going to be going by, I think the number I last heard was 1,000 veterans that are going to be attending in the beginning of December or next week. But all of these people who have come together, who didn't even know each other a year ago, 9 months ago, the ability to change your life and join on to a cause that you feel is important to you in an absolutely peaceful, prayerful, respectful way is just inspirational.
The former moderator of the Presbyterian Church in the United States of America, Rick Ufford Chase, was arrested while he was there in a peaceful protest. And he talked about how respectful the law enforcement people were when they were taken in and spent their night in jail. He said he's been arrested before for other protests.
I have not.
Okay, but he said that, as in the case in other times when there were peaceful protests, that there was respect, that people weren't dragged away and chained or anything. And I know there has been some violence, and I know that the internet is full of so-called news that we cannot necessarily trust. And certainly this whole idea of a pipeline is controversial. We have to move energy resources from one place to another, and so pipelines are one way, trucks rolling on the highways are another way. But what makes this kind of a unique thing is that sense of community that has built up among so many different people from all over the country, from so many different belief systems. And at the heart of it, I think, is the idea of clean water, which we take for granted every time we turn on a spigot. But that's part of the heart of the beginning of the protest, I guess.
Right.
And now, as you look at the winter coming on, certainly those large numbers of the thousands will dwindle down a little bit because, as you say, that's a desperately frigid place to spend the winter with burning a log in your tent.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It would be difficult to endure. I know that there's going to be a lot of people who do, and certainly the Lakota people, this is their life. Anyway, of course, they have homes that they could go to as well. But I know that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to remain there, and who knows, what kind of resurgence this might see as time goes on, as deadlines are, passed. I know that there's a deadline in January 1st to have completed a certain amount of work, and if not, how do the contracts fall through? I don't know any of this, but I do want to attest that this is absolutely the most profound coming together of people and experiences that I certainly have ever witnessed. And
and this daily ritual that you talked about, the water ritual going down to the river, the time that people spent in prayer and ritual, when you come back now to your real life, has this changed the way that you spend spiritual time day by day?
Well, I spend spiritual time daily anyway. As I said, this is increasing, I guess, my awareness of the kinds of people in the world who are willing to give up what they have to fight for in their own way what they believe is right. And
there is sacrifice involved.
There's sacrifice. I mean, I think that there's some images too. This is it looks a little bit like MASH, the set for MASH out at Standing Rock. There are medic tents and soup kitchens that are created out of next to nothing, that are feeding the thousands and thousands of people.
I was fascinated that you said there was no money exchanged, so that you go and food is shared, and there are not trinkets available and T-shirts and booths and so on. This is not a commercial venture for
Absolutely
people.
not. I know that there's some things online. I don't know if that's where those funds go to. I really don't. I would be really questioning that sort of thing. But certainly, I mean, even when you listen, and you ask, how can you help? This opportunity to be able to share that positive and spiritual experience with you is one of the ways, I guess, that I'm helping. And to keep them in prayer is what they ask for. That's what's being asked for.
Wonderful. And we shall.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for sharing this experience.
Thank you for the opportunity to share it.
I know that some other folks from the area have gone, but you were sitting in the pew behind me, and I thought, I heard about that, so I'm glad we were able to connect with this. Terry McDonald is the executive director of the Roberson Museum and Science Center, and her daughter is at Standing Rock and expected home for Christmas. So
she'll be home for Christmas.
Yes.
She's got to come home for Christmas.
So, and I would love to meet her. I hope our paths will cross.
All right.
So if you go to your faith community's website, whether you're Presbyterian, Episcopal, Methodist, Roman Catholic, you'll find on these websites more information about your particular church's participation in this situation at Standing Rock. I'm Jeff Kellam. Thank you for being with us for the Encounter program produced by the Broome County Council of Churches. And I hope that in the coming week, of course, you'll be gentle with people and with yourself. And I want to wish you and yours the happiest of Christmases, and join you in our prayers for peace on earth.